And I literally said, I don't know what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. So I'm going to try this writing thing. And I have 20 blog posts or something. And I'm hilarious. Which I think I'm funny. And I realized that I'm writing the Never Overthink book for me anyway. And it doesn't matter if nobody else likes it. It's changing my life. And I'm getting a kick out of my own writing, which sounds vain, but it really doesn't matter. I know I'm not going to be everybody's cup of tea. I know that it will resonate. It could resonate with some, and it might not resonate with others, and that's okay.
Hello and welcome. I'm Bretagne.
I'm Johanna.
And I'm Anike, and you're listening to Dare to Try podcast.
Yay! It's recording. It's official. Good morning, happy day, or good evening. I guess it depends on when people are listening to this.
Oh, I was like, where is it evening? It's not evening for me.
Time is it where you are, Anike?
I don't know, 6:30. So yeah, something like that.
In the morning. And wasn't it a fallback? Do you guys do spring forward, fall back where you live?
Yeah. Most people
savings?
do, except for Arizona.
I don't know how things are in Portland. Get started. So, thought of the day. Now that we have decided this is our format, I'm really excited. I have a thought to share with you guys. Let's see. Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
Here it is. Perfectionism is the enemy of action. And often I have found that perfection is a mask we all wear when we are afraid of failure. So ask yourself, am I a perfectionist? Because here is the truth of the matter. Clarity comes from engagement. It does not come from thought. I pulled that from a TED Talk by Ashley Stahl. And the TED Talk was titled, How to Figure Out What You Want.
Cool.
It's really good if you haven't checked it out.
Thank you for sharing that. I really like TED Talks. I feel like they inspire in different ways than just reading a book.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So last week's Dare, truth. What do you not get enough of? What is a place in your life that you are lacking? And the dare is to come up with a plan to address this aspect of your life that you want more of or that you want to add in. So with that, Anike, what was your truth last time?
So I wasn't getting enough. I was focusing on the fact that I wasn't getting enough forgiveness for myself. I was having a lot of regret of why didn't I buy a house when I was 20? Why didn't we get out of debt before we had kids? Now I'm 31 and I feel like I had a lot of regrets of the things I should have done. And I feel like I also get down on myself for other things, silly things, little things, like Dan's 30th birthday in Hawaii 6 years ago. We had a great time, but there was this one thing where I forgot it was his birthday for a couple hours. And I remembered right when I woke up and I serenaded him and it was so fun. And then for a couple hours, I was like, well, he needs to pay for this lunch because he's the man or something. And I was not make you feel special. And then I was like, oh my gosh, it's his birthday. I should pay. And just silly things. And it didn't feel like his birthday at all. And then, yeah, so that's all. And I was just I'm so sorry. I never made your 30th birthday special. It's such a big birthday. Anyway, before I go on that rant anymore, I had a lot of guilt and I would think on things too much. That's why I'm writing this book, Overthinking, because it's helping me. So, do you want me to go on what I did about it? Or just the truth?
Yeah, no,
okay.
Please. Go ahead. Go for it.
Okay, so the dare, that was the truth, and the dare went with the truth to then do something about it. What can you do to get more of the thing that you're lacking? So I said forgiveness, but I also said money. So I kind of combined these. And I came up with an entire plan of what I would do to forgive myself, release regret, and move forward, and then also get money from it. And so I created, first I wanted to, I printed out some of my accomplishments. So this is my graduation speech from high school. So I spoke at graduation.
Speech. Yeah.
This is just some random thoughts because I started a blog when I was like 20 and I found it again recently. I was really proud of it. These are just some events that I did, the Badass Birth Warriors, because I had home birth. This was a concert that actually failed, but it was like one of my first that I put together in college. These are just some events that I did for work. So I just printed a bunch of these and I have like 10 of these pages. This was a really big event recently, the Avocado Moms event. These are just some other events. And then like, I won't go through all of them because there's a lot, and then this was like a brochure that I designed that Legacy still uses, which is cool. Anyway, so I was reminding myself of all the things that I did accomplish instead of focusing on all the things that I should have done. I experienced zero gravity at NASA and wrote an article about it and was published. And I've come really far in who I am today. And so I was focusing on those things. And then I decided to create a journal with prompts. And it says, I can't remember what it says, but on the cover it says something like, what has been and what will be are all a part of a beautiful me. And that's the title of the journal, is A Beautiful Me. And then inside it says, like, it prompts you. It says how to use this journal and how it works. But it prompts you to write everything that you can't control down, like where you were raised, what color your eyes are, how you were raised, where you lived, the weather. Write down all the things you can't control so you get it out of your system. Because when you release the things you can't control, it leaves room in your soul for things that you can. So that's the first chapter. And then the next one is write all the things that you like regret and have guilt about. Everything you feel shame about, everything that you just feel bad about, and you get it all out. Because we were talking earlier before we hit the record button that when things are too big for your brain, you just have to get it out. So writing things down releases things. Talking it out releases things. Dancing, movement, because there's energy inside of us, and if it's stuck or it needs to move or change, we have to have a force acting on it to move it. And a physical force or a mechanical movement can help get that out. And so the purpose of this journal was to help me write all the things I can't control, all my regrets. And then it goes on with things that you love, then finding your purpose. And then there's like quotes in there and affirmations, and then like motivational things from me, like, great, you've gone halfway through this journal, keep going. And it's mostly talking to myself and then writing a letter of forgiveness to myself, like, will you forgive me? And then repeating 3 times, I forgive you, I forgive you, I forgive you. And then each section also has a section of gratitude. Anyway, it's complete and it is now on sale on Amazon. So I'm going to make money from it, and it is helping me get on my journey to forgive myself and love myself more. So, short answer.
Mic drop. Oh my gosh, Anike, you took this dare and you turned it up by 10. Like, I am so blown away, and I love this, and I want to purchase this journal. This is fantastic.
Thank you. I'll probably gift it to you.
Why did she go first?
I know. Why, Anike? You should have said, you really don't want me to go first.
Just, edit it out. Put me after you guys.
I'm sitting here going, oh, okay, then Johanna's going next because I'm not going after that.
Well, it's very important to forgive yourself, and I really wanted to finally release it and let it go, and so it really helped me. And then I figured I could help a lot of other people too, who struggle with holding on to the guilt and those negative thoughts and loving themselves. And then at the same time, figuring out okay, now you release it. Now, what are you going to do now? And so I have the whole Ikagi chart. Have you guys heard of Ikagi? It's it's like a circle of things that you love, a circle, and they overlap. So circle of things you love, things that the world needs, things that you can make money, and things that you're good at. And they all overlap, and whatever's in the middle, which is all of them, things you love, the world needs, make money, and are good at, is your Ikagi, which is the Japanese word for reason for living. So I included that in there to like help people too. Like, okay, so now you released it. Now there's room to create action. So what are you going to do now? And so it's a workbook, and then it's a journal, and it has prompts. So you write what is asked, but then there's a lot of empty pages at the end as well. So.
And what is your book called? Journal?
It's called A Beautiful Me Journal. Yeah, it's on Amazon. You can. The cover says what has or what will be is all a part of a beautiful me. So I was trying to decide if I was going to have that really long title or just call it A Beautiful Me Journal, but it's all the same. It's blue and white. It might still be pending, actually, because I just put it for sale yesterday. I haven't checked if it's actually on there yet.
That's amazing. Good for you.
Okay,
Thank you.
I don't see that I can purchase it yet, but I will be purchasing it once it's available.
You're so great. Thanks, Bretagne.
How cool is that? Anike, wow. That's fantastic. What did you learn about this experience? So about, clearly you do well with plans, you do well with execution, but what did you learn as you started to build the plan, as you started to execute, about yourself, maybe about the process?
About myself, I've learned, because I was starting having doubts about my writing. And then when I found that old blog from when I was like 19 or 20, I literally said, I don't know what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. So I'm going to try this writing thing. And I have 20 blog posts or something. And I'm hilarious, which I think I'm funny. And I realized that I'm writing the Never Overthink book for me anyway. And it doesn't matter if nobody else likes it. Like, it's changing my life, and I'm getting a kick out of my own writing, which sounds vain, but it really doesn't matter. Like, I know I'm not going to be everybody's cup of tea. I know that it will resonate. It could resonate with some, and it might not resonate with others, and that's okay. And so I'm learning, like, I'm having fun. I'm doing this for me. This is my bucket list for my sense of accomplishment, and it's helping me and my marriage and my kids. So it doesn't matter. So that was the biggest breakthrough, is that like I'm enjoying myself for me.
I love that it's not for anyone else's approval.
Yeah.
And I loved when you said that you printed off, you were trying to figure out how to change your belief system on success and the things that you've accomplished, and you go and find these blog posts and you print them off. You found these flyers and posters of things that you have accomplished, and instead of going, oh yeah, I did do that, and remembering, you actually created a physical reminder of all these things that you have done and how far you have come. And I think that's a really, really good takeaway, that if you're unable to do it with visualization alone, then give yourself a visual, give yourself a token to remind you.
Exactly. Thank you. Oh, and I forgot one more thing. My favorite part of this book is you either glue in or draw in a picture of yourself from 10 years ago and then a current picture, or glue in a mirror. And so that you can see the difference. Because I saw pictures of myself from like 10 years ago, and I was like, wow, that girl knew nothing. But I'm also was like, well, I need to be tender to her too. Like, she, when you know better, you do better. And I just didn't know better. And there was a lot about me that I needed to fix, that I had no idea I needed to fix. But then I was also a reminder of like, but I was a lot of fun, and I had all these other things that I don't want to lose either. So it was cool to compare the two pictures.
I love that. I think that's a good practice, a good tool that we should do anyways is, look not only at how far you've come, but give some compassion to the person that you were.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Johanna.
Oh, man.
Yep. That is the beauty of me leading this topic. Johanna, would you like to share your truth from something you were lacking that you wanted more of?
Yes. So when you asked me what I felt like I was lacking, I was like, sleep. I got that last night, so I feel great. Success, bucket list, thrive instead of survive. So like I feel like I have a great life. I really do. I'm grateful for the life I have, my family. I have a great support system. Like, life is good. But being a young mom, I guess, young in the sense that my kids are young, I feel like
I'm also young.
I am so young. I feel like I'm on constant survival mode because sometimes I don't get enough sleep. Sometimes I don't get enough food or drink or me time, So sometimes I'm just kind of going with the motions, but I caught myself that I was going through the motions even when I was getting everything I needed. And I don't want to do that. I want to give my kids the time of day that they deserve. I want to have goals for myself. Someone asked me to fill out like this mom survey, and it was for her college class that she was doing, but it asked me like, what's on your bucket list that you feel like you can't accomplish because you have kids? And I was like, no, I feel like I accomplish everything because I do everything with my kids. But then I was like, what do I accomplish? Like, what am I doing with my life? I don't even have a bucket list. Like, they don't interfere with anything because I don't have anything to interfere with. And so I'm just like thinking like, okay, I need to write down stuff that I want to do and things that I need to accomplish. And so it's simple. Like a couple years ago, I made a huge bucket list with Kaden, and it was ginormous. It was like travel to Germany, travel to this place, go do, and it was 100 things. It's ginormous. And I can't remember all of those things, honestly. And I just started fresh. And the first thing I wrote down, I want to learn to play the piano. I started taking piano lessons when I was like 6 or something. And it has resonated with me. And I've gone on YouTube and I have tried teaching myself some songs, and the few lines of music that I know, I love to play. And every time I play it, like, my soul is enlightened. Like, passion is risen. My life is floating. Like, I love playing the piano, even though I only know 1 line or 2 lines from one song. But I play it every single time. I don't even know the name of the song anymore. My next thing is I want to read a book all the way through. When was the last time I read a book all the way through? I don't even know. I want to knit a blanket, and not like the tiny little knit. I want to do like those huge, like on your arm knit blanket, and it's cozy and big, and it just wraps around me and it covers my whole couch. And I want to do that in like a month, and I want to do that. And then, of course, I do want to go on a vacation. I do want to either go on a cruise. I've never been on a cruise, or I want to go to like a fancy tropical resort and just feel fancy for a day, And that's my bucket list. But then I realized like those are like my big goals that I would like to work towards. But I'm like, I feel often unsatisfied each day. I'm not going to do all those things each day. And so I was like, what's my everyday bucket list? I was like, I want to wake up and feel alive. I want to play with my daughters and not just say, go play and not watch TV for 2 hours, I want to do stuff with them. My first daughter, Olive, has a really hard time eating a variety of food, so I want to make food fun for her. maybe learn to cook. I want to create crafts that they want to do that both my kids can do, because I have a 1-year-old and oftentimes she eats things that she shouldn't. And so I want to get creative with that. And so in order to feel successful at the end of the day, I want to say that Olive tried something new, some kind of new food. My kids learned a new skill. They exercised, our relationship grew, and we got sunlight. And I want to give them direction because they thrive on routine. Now every morning, Olive wakes up and she's like, I want to watch a show. Oh, let's set a timer, because when the timer goes off, I can watch my show. And we set a 2-hour timer and she's like, okay, I'm going to go get my juice. Let's go get a snack. And come on, we're going to go play some games. And she's like, oh, we got to change my diaper and Holland's diaper too. And we do all these things because that's what we do every day. And she thrives on it. And honestly, I do too. And so I need to build on that. And so these are the realizations that I came up with.
That's awesome, Johanna. I love that it's that, well, I feel like what you said is like the key to feeling fulfilled as a stay-at-home mom, because it's something that I struggled with, and it's because I wouldn't come up with plans and I wasn't motivated to do creative things. But you sound so motivated and you have a sincere desire to still be a stay-at-home mom. Like you're not like trying to go work for some big company or do some big entrepreneurial side thing, which you still do have your lacrosse thing, but your goal is to feel fulfilled and successful as a stay-at-home mom. And I feel it genuinely from you that you want that and that you have these really good plans to do that. I think it's such a good example for other women who aren't feeling successful or fulfilled, who are staying at home. So thank you for being such a good example.
Thanks, sis.
Yeah, I absolutely agree, Anike. That was my takeaway as well. What I also loved about your bucket list is they're very attainable goals. They will still take practice and time and devotion, but you didn't choose, I want to visit, 13 new countries in a year coming out of a pandemic, right? Like you set yourself up to succeed, and you did that 2 different ways, creating a bigger goal, bigger bucket list, and then your little daily bucket list. And I loved that instead of alienating your family, you put them into it. That so much of your joy isn't just Johanna's joy, it's Johanna's joy with her family. And I thought that was beautiful. I love your plan, and I'm excited to learn more about your process as you conquer each of these daily bucket tasks, but also go after some of the big ones like playing piano or planning a cruise.
Yeah, you were so cute when you were talking about playing the piano. And it's funny is that like music has that effect on us. Like there is something special about piano for sure, because I play guitar and it's really fun. When I sit down at the piano, it's just like you like move like when you play, whereas you kind of move when you play guitar, I guess. But there's just something that's just like the piano and your body like come together, and it's like this is beautiful thing of something that you feel and not just listen to. So I'm excited. I hope that you like take it a step further, and maybe we'll have to dare you to do this at some point, but have like a recital.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. My truth was I needed more peaceful, creative time. I needed more space that was not scheduled, and I was disconnected. Often people have that personal me time in between meetings, but it's holding their phone. And I wanted more time being free of distraction. And so I did some journaling as part of my experience to try to figure out how do I get this? And I started just writing about the podcast and what we're doing. And I found myself writing several pages, and that counted as time. I felt recharged. I was writing about how I really need to have time where I'm not connected. And I realized, Bretagne, you're writing. You love to write. You have this whole world here, and it's something that you're good at and you're passionate about, and you can make money from it. And the world needs more hope and beautiful written stories. And so I was like, oh, this helps me with my purpose. But still, I didn't have a system. So I started to write down, when are times that I need to unplug? And I thought about when I first wake up in the morning, how I always listen to either a TED Talk or a motivational message. I do that already. I was like, well, I don't really need to unplug then, but that's good to acknowledge that the value of having that first thing in the morning. And then when I come back from the gym, I have my podcast with my sisters, or I will read something. But again, it wasn't a system, it's something I was already doing. And then around lunchtime, when I'm feeling really overwhelmed, I find that I stop and scroll on social media. And so I said, okay, so that is the time. I clearly have something already in place for first thing when I wake up, and after the gym, I'm already in a good mood. But what can I do in the middle of the day when my default is not to pick up my pen, it's not to listen to music or to go on a walk? And so I took, another moment to sit down and write. And I just kept on saying, well, I need a system, and I don't want an alarm, and I need some type of sign. If the universe could just give me a sign. And then every time I saw the sign, I knew I would just need to take a break. And
like an alarm on your phone?
Like an alarm on my phone. But that's too easy. Bretagne has to make it hard on herself. And so I was sitting there and I was looking at my yoga mat from the time after I had come back from the gym. I did some meditation, and I was like, well, I should really put that away. And I rolled it up, and instead of reaching up to put the yoga mat away, I decided to step on a chair for some reason, and actually could see over the cupboard where I was keeping my yoga mat. And as I went to put my yoga mat away, there it was. There was the sign that I had been asking for. And it came in the shape of a toy panther. You see it?
That's funny.
And the reason why this is important is someone very important to me once told me that I had Black Panther energy, and that the Black Panther is one of my spirit animals. And if I can just accept that and tune into that I have so much more within me than I even acknowledge. And then I find this toy Black Panther up in a spot that I have never looked before. And so I set it down. And so I told myself, anytime that it catches my eye, I'm going to just take a moment. And maybe it's just 10 seconds. Maybe it's an actual walk or a writing break. But what this did is it basically gave me a physical reminder of what I already know. That I'm allowed to stop and take these moments. And I need to stop and take these moments. And I'm going to follow what I call the Headlight Rule. How do you know when to turn on your headlights at night? Do you guys know this?
No. When it gets dark? Yeah. When the sun starts to go down?
Right. Absolutely. But if you're turning on your headlights when it's already dark, it's too late. It is the same when taking a break and finding peaceful, creative moments. If you are waiting until you are burnt out and stressed out and you can't pick up on tiny little signs, it's too late. So the headlight rule is, as soon as you start to think, it's starting to get dark, maybe I should start to put my headlights on, or I should put them on in a few minutes. Just put them on then. Because before you know it, it will be dark and you will need your headlights. And so that is the system that I have created for me, is instead of waiting until I'm about to lose my ish and yell at my boyfriend and spiral out of control, I'm going to pay attention to the small intuitive thought. Bretagne, when's the last time you took a break? When's the last time you got up and walked around? If I'm already asking myself the question, then I need to go ahead and turn on my headlights and take that moment.
Yeah, I love that analogy. That's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I love that, like, that little thing, the thing that you found on top of your cover, because it was from a previous tenant, right? It's not yours.
Right. Yeah, this is, so I've been staying in a hotel for 2 weeks. So this belongs to someone else.
Yeah, so it could have been anything. Like, it could have been a giraffe. It could have been a crocodile, but it was a black panther, which you have said. I remember you saying that and I've even thought that, because you're always like, wear these cool black clothes and you've got these cool, like, glowy eyes. So, like, I recognize the Black Panther energy, and I know people have said that. So it could have been anything, but it was a Black Panther. So how cool is that?
I love that so much. Thanks for speaking of me. I love everything that you were saying. You guys are really, really good at having like this quote or analogy to like leave with your experience. I love that you have this headlight analogy, and now I'm gonna think about it every time I turn on my headlights in my car. And Anike, I love that you were talking about, you know, release things so that you can leave room for things that you need to have control over. I love it all. Thank you.
So thank you for experiencing this truth and dare with us. I believe we have another truth. Anike, are you prepared?
Okay, so I expressed last week that it was difficult for some reason when the decision is on me to think of a truth or dare. And I don't know if it's lack of imagination or if my mind is just thinking about my book or what, but I came up with one, but only one. And I was just like, I don't know if people have time for this or if they wanted this. And I started overthinking, and overthinking does not serve me. Hence the book. Anyway, first I want to ask, when is a time that you felt unworthy? And I know that's very broad, but unworthy of love, unworthy of affection, unworthy of friends, unworthy of a raise at work, unworthy of a gift someone gave you. Anytime, I want you to reflect on it for a second. When have you felt unworthy?
Okay.
Do
you have it in your mind? Because I actually didn't prepare and I'm still thinking.
I don't have it. I right now the first thing that comes to my mind is I know that feeling. I know that feeling of feeling unworthy. I think of like, you know, when I was in high school is such a hard time. I think of like sometimes with family. You know, I look up to my family, and I'm the youngest, and so everybody just seems...
And the shortest.
I'm not the shortest. Mom is shorter than me, okay? But I look up to everyone, you know? And wasn't there a study done that if you physically look up to them, you also actually look up to them in other ways as well? I think that's a study. That's a thing. I don't know. Anyway, so I look up to everyone in our family. Everyone is older, wiser, more experienced, taller, everything. And so a lot of the time when I say something, I feel like it's not worth much. I'm like, oh, here's my baby sister giving me advice again, you know? And it's hard. And you guys often make me feel good. You're like, oh, Johanna, you're becoming so wise. But even those words kind of are, no offense, but a little belittling. because, at least to me, because my whole life I feel like I'm little Johanna, baby sister, the youngest, you know. So even if you don't mean it that way, my insecurities make it feel that way. And it's also interesting that you chose this subject, because I told you guys that I'm going to Institute every week. And the subject that we're talking about, the talk, is called Worthiness is Not Flawlessness. That's the subject.
I love that.
That's awesome.
And I haven't read it yet. I haven't gone through it, and I don't know why I didn't go through it yet. So maybe this is just to add to my challenge for the week. So.
Well, and that was a perfect example, because sometimes people get caught up on the word worthy. Like, am I worthy to be Thor? You know, like, is he worthy to be that character? But I think you described it perfectly, of like, undeserving is another word. And also feeling, you said something that was like, worth. It's about your worth. So worthy comes from worth. And so I think you gave the example. So that was a good truth answer, is that when people tell you, even in a compliment of you're becoming wise, you don't actually feel like you have worth or that you are wise, because it implies that you once were not. And that's not what we were saying, but that's how you took it. And so there's something inside you that's saying that you don't have that worth, or you're not deserving of something. So that was good. Good answer.
Thanks.
Yeah, I love that. Worthiness is not flawlessness. When was the last time that I felt unworthy? So my mind went to this past weekend when I needed a break, and I didn't feel like I could say I needed a break. Like, I hadn't earned the right to have me time. I hadn't earned the right, even though I was at my wit's end and I had given up so much of my time to serve the greater cause of moving in and getting settled. And then I thought, when's the last time I felt worthy? And the last time I felt worthy was at the gym when I was working out, and someone came over to use the machine. Maybe it wasn't obvious I was using it. And in the past, I would have been, like many years ago, I've been like, oh yeah, I guess they are using it now. I guess I'm done. And I would have shrunk away and given up my time at the gym. And this time I said, excuse me, I'm using that. And they're like, oh, sorry. I'm like, no, you're fine. And it was just this moment of empowerment of saying, I have a reason to be here. I am worthy, and my muscles may not be as big, I may not be as strong, but I am worthy enough to use this machine just as much as you are. And I feel very empowered at the gym. And so when you said that, when was the time you did not feel worthy? Honestly, I struggle with worthiness, and I struggle with that value a lot. So what helps me is, when do I feel enough? When do I feel worthy? And making sure that I continue to go after those things and mimic and replicate those feelings and emotions in other aspects of my life.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that we will often let people walk all over us if we don't feel like we are enough or worth something to stand up. And I remember feeling this at when I worked at the pharmacy, because I thought, I don't want to bother the pharmacist. They're so busy. I have so many questions and I need help from them, but I don't want to ask them. Some people might say that's considerate, but really it's that I didn't think that I was worth their time. And so then I thought, wait a minute. Yes, I am worth their time, and I need help. And more often than not, they're not going to be bothered by it. Like, they are willing to help. That was just my own thinking. So then I went over there and I got help. And I told that to the team that I was managing too. And I was like, I want you to know that it does not bother me if you ask me for help. You are worthy of help. You are worthy of my time, because you are worthy of time. And they really appreciated that, because I think a lot of people are scared to like ask for help or reach out to their leaders. So, but it comes from that inner belief of like, oh, I'm being considerate. I don't want to bother them. And you're like, well, that's their machine. Like they're going to work on it. I don't want to like create contention. But you stood up, and because you're learning to be more worthy and feel enough, that you were like, no, I was using that. Like, I'm not done. And you stood up for yourself. And that's not rude. Some people might be offended by it, but it's not rude. That's just their own thing. So I'm really proud of you for doing that. And thank you for saying that.
Thank you. I really appreciate this truth, because just like you talked about the pharmacist and not feeling worthy enough to go and talk to them, I have a couple of people in my life who are very successful and are very inspiring, and they want to spend time with me. And it's baffling to me that they would devote their time, these successful people who have so many people begging to spend time with them, who have money and influence and social media following and connection and are so inspiring, and they want to sit in a coffee shop and talk to me. It's a couple of times I've talked to, there's a couple of people most recently that I were like, I don't understand why you're helping me. I don't understand what I can offer you. And they said, Bretagne, I don't want anything from you but your time. And you're giving that to me. So thank you. And I don't know why I feel so unworthy unless I am giving of, my money, my advice, my network way. There's something that I am giving, but then I realize that I am giving something. I'm giving my time, and my time is just as valuable as theirs. Doesn't matter if they have more money, more influence, more followers. I am worthy of help, and they are worthy of sharing that with me. And so I love this. I'm excited what the dare is, though. What's the dare?
So one time I finally thought of one while you guys were talking. For me, was last year. Our small business was going under, and we were really struggling financially, and we were getting food assistance from the church, and we were selling everything to get money. And somebody from the church, an older couple, like the sweetest people I've ever met, showed up at our door with an envelope, and they said, I don't know why, but I feel inspired to give this to you. We feel like you might need it. And I was just like, that's so sweet. Like, what is it? I thought it was just like a card or something. And I opened it up, and it was $500. And when you have no money, $500 is a lot of money. I mean, that would pay for like about a month's worth of groceries for us. And I just started crying, and I was like, why are you giving this to us? And they were just like, we just felt like you needed it. And then they just started walking away. Like, they weren't looking for like recognition, and they're like, okay, have a nice day. And I was just like, what? And I went, and I was just like stunned. I was just like holding it like this, walking into the house, and I brought it to Dan, and I was like, babe. And he's like, what's wrong? And I was like, look. And he opened it, and he's like, whoa, where'd that come from? I was like, babe, it's $500. And he was just like, that's great, babe. And I was like, yeah, it's from the Waynes, and brother and sister Wayne. And I just started crying, and I was just like, I can't believe, like, they're so sweet and felt inspired. Like, how did they know? And because my thought was like, there are other people that are worse off than us. There were people on the streets. At least we had a home and heat and some food. There are people who are worse off than us. And so I didn't think that we were deserving of that. But yet we were in a place that we actually needed it, and we needed to be humble to receive it and feel like we deserved it as well. And so anytime I have those like moments, I cry. And this has happened so many times. I mean, another person was my friend Dave Featherstone, which you know, and maybe if he ever listens to this, like, I feel like he changed my life. And he also gave us $1,000 from his family. And I know I've told you this before, but both of those were very impactful moments in our life where we were really hurting for money. And I wasn't asking for money. I asked Dave for help. Like, do you have a place we could live? Like, do you know anyone? 'Cause his mom was a realtor, and he was like, let me ask. And he went straight to work and helped us. And he gathered up his whole family to raise that $1,000, or maybe he gave it himself. I'm not sure, but he said it was from his family. Anyway, so sometimes we feel like we're not worthy or deserving of gifts or money. Like, we might not feel like we're deserving to ask for a raise, that we're not worth more money. But money is just energy, and so is the feeling of being worthy is also just energy. And so if we match our energy with the money energy, we can get more money. And so something that's been on my mind a lot. So with that, the dare, which is funny because it's not a profound dare, but I'm experimenting with movement because, like I said, when you so this is not just Anike's theory, this is science, okay guys? Tony Robbins, if you're familiar with him, he's like for decades been like this #1 life coach. He's trained in NLP, but he's also trained in movement, and he helps people instantly get out of their head and get unstuck with physical movement. And he talks about it in his book that I'm reading right now. And so I'm also incorporating it in my book, which is cool because I'm like, oh, I was inspired to write this. I didn't realize a big name like Tony Robbins was doing this for decades. So kind of cool. But physical movement can change the energy inside our head. So with that said, if you don't have the cash on hand, if you have a credit card, I want you to go to the mall and buy the most expensive outfit or shirt or pants that you can, maybe within reason, but an expensive thing that you wouldn't normally buy because it costs too much. Like for me, I shop at thrift stores because I'm like, I'm not gonna spend $20 on a shirt when I could spend $5. But I want you to go beyond that and spend like $100 on a shirt or $200. And I know, Bretagne, you have like a Lululemon thing, but you don't do that often. So I want you.
Yeah, you mean like, do I own a Lululemon sweater? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, but yeah. But you haven't bought a Lululemon one in years, and right. That costs a lot of money. But anyway, and I'm not talking about like a coat, because coats cost money. Like my big coat is $100. I'm talking about like
a splurge item, like because we're worth it.
Yes, exactly. So the idea, my theory is that if you wear an expensive shirt, and you can return it. So that was the thing, is like, if you really don't have money, you don't want to spend it. Like I don't want to put you out. You can return it, but you have to buy it and wear it for a day. And then you can return it, which is fine. It's totally normal. People do this all the time. Like they change their mind. You don't have to feel bad about returning it, okay? But the idea is that when you feel worthy of something that costs more and you buy it, then you will feel more worthy. Or if you don't feel worthy and you wear something that costs, $200 or something, that physical energy will increase your energy of feeling worthy.
I love this. This is exciting. I did not see this coming.
Johanna, what are your thoughts? Are you okay with this?
Yes. I feel bad because 2 weeks ago I kind of already splurged. It was for family pictures and I was planning on returning all of it and I didn't.
Well, you deserve it.
So, but they weren't like horrible expensive amounts of clothing, just all together for each, like adding up for my whole family. It was a lot of money. So
I'm talking like $100 or more for like one item. You can get a whole outfit, but at least one item, like a shirt. I mean, you can even do like jewelry. Jewelry's really easy to go expensive, but I was personally thinking like a shirt from like Nordstrom or something. I don't know. I don't know what's the most expensive store. don't even shop at those.
Well, but I love this because I often avoid some of, like, I like Express, but Express can be a little bit pricey. And I like Lululemon. I love Athleta. Oh, I love Athleta. Maybe I'll do this at Athleta. But they are more expensive and I have to really rationalize. Even right now I have a Fabletics membership. And even though I pay for the membership, I haven't bought anything in a while. Because I'm like, oh, because you have to spend the money to get it. And it's, even though you have the membership, you get a discount. So I love this because I often hold back and I will change what I want based on my resources. Mm-hmm. And I love this about Jason. Jason's really good about manifesting our new place. He's like, I want the best. We deserve the best. We will have the best. We will prepare and fight for the best. And I'm like, I'm okay with just okay. Mm-hmm. And he's like, nope, we deserve the best. We're going after it. And he's really, really good at that. And I am just grateful for what I have. I'm grateful for the sweater I do have, even if it's from the thrift store.
Yeah.
So that doesn't make me any less worthy. So this is a really, really good practice. And I'm just excited to see what I'm going to buy. Anike, so Johanna said hat, I said a sleep situation. What's an item that you always catches your eye that you would like to find?
I like bold earrings, but I don't know if I'm gonna buy bold earrings because usually my fun earrings just don't cost that much. But I want probably a dress. Like, I remember this one lady where I worked, I was meeting with her in the office and her door was closed and I knocked on the door and she opened it and my breath was literally taken back. It was as if there was like a fan blowing on her. Her hair was like this and she had this form-fitting bright red dress. And I was like, hi. and I like men, but I was just like, wow, like you are. And I was like, kind of like looking her up and down. I was like, you are gorgeous. It was like really awkward and weird. But it was like that bright red statement dress. She was tall and confident and she like owned that dress. So probably like a statement dress.
I love that. So I was a little hesitant about this because I bought myself like a fancy jacket for family pictures and I wore it to church and I was like, I feel too rich in this. And it was, I don't even know how much it was, but for all our family picture clothes all together, I spent $150, like, which isn't that much for a family of 4.
No.
But to me, that's a lot of money. Anyway, so I was kind of hesitant about this whole thing, but I like how we're talking about how we're going to do something that we haven't done before because it's too bold or we're unworthy. I like this idea more and more.
Yeah, I think this is going to be really good.
Yeah, and I also want you to recognize the way you see like rich people, because I know that mom grew up with very little and sometimes we have this like negative connotation that like rich people are mean or a certain way or they don't deserve what they have or whatever. But you can be rich and you don't have to, because you were like, I feel rich in this, like I feel too rich. You said it kind of in a negative way, but there's nothing wrong with being rich. I mean, if you remember the Johns, not the Johns, but
Johns.
But there was like, was it like the older Johns? Like they had that huge mansion in North Carolina and they were like the sweetest, oldest couple in the world and they like had money. And so I think that we just need to remember that like having money is not bad, it's not evil, and you are worthy of it. You can feel rich and have that actually be a positive feeling.
Because you're worth it, baby.